Hey, what is going on, party people? Greg Jenkins here from Monkey Pod Marketing. This morning, I had a question come up inside of the OG membership where a user asked about expected behavior when a contact is in a campaign twice, the same contact, and one version of themselves catches up to the other version, right? So what will happen? Will the contact be able to be in the same sequence twice? Will they just drop out of the campaign? Will they stop and restart that sequence because the new one got there? And honestly, this is a confusing scenario because the answer to the expected behavior depends on a number of variables. For example, you can expect different outcomes if the contact is active in the sequence or if the contact is queued, meaning they've already finished those steps. So I did a quick demo here to answer that question, to highlight those scenarios, and to try to shine some light on the behavior that you can expect when a contact catches up to themselves. Check it out. Okay, looking to test two different conditions here. I would like to understand what happens when a contact catches up to themselves in a sequence. So if there are multiple instances of a contact in a campaign, what happens when one runs into themselves? Okay, so to test this, I have two different conditions set up. This one is going to hold the contact as active, and this one is going to allow the contact to be queued. That way we can determine if it behaves differently based on whether the contact is active or queued in that sequence. So to start, let's add Kelly Kapowski to that sequence where she will be held active, which is campaign conditions and should be sequence 2 active. And then we will add another contact. Let's go with Zach Morris to the sequence 4, which is campaign conditions inactive. Save, and we could just verify that they are indeed in the sequences. Okay, so Kelly is here, active. Zach is here, queued. So and these both have just a 1-minute timer so we can witness the behavior as they go through. They'll either go through and merge, or they'll not be able to go through because they're in the same sequence, or they'll go through and this one will become reactivated. So let's try to figure that out. Kelly, we need to add to sequence 1. So let's add to campaign conditions sequence 1. And Zach, we need to add to campaign conditions sequence 3. There we go. And let's refresh this now. So we have both of those conditions there. I will pause, let that 1-minute timer run, and let's see what happens. Okay, it has been over a minute, so let's refresh. And there we go. So both contacts cleared out of the initial 2 sequences. I wonder if it reset the entry date for this contact or this contact. But they did not queue in sequence 1, which is interesting. Okay, so what I need to know is what time was Kelly added to this sequence. So let's find that. Sequence start date 2:33 and stop date 2:34. Okay, so now we can look and see the start date for this contact. And if it is 2:34, we know that the second version of Kelly replaced the first version. If it is before 2:34, we know that the second version of Kelly exited the campaign and the first version is still active in that sequence. So let's see. Okay, 2:32. So we know that this is the first version of Kelly. The second version of Kelly disappeared from the campaign when Kelly caught up to herself. Same question with Zach. Let's just double check that Zach. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it looks like the queued contact, Zach was able to re-enter the sequence in which he was already queued. We can verify this, but that's what how I'm reading that. So 234 is when the second version of Zach left this sequence. And we should see two separate entry times for the queued contacts in that second sequence, because that's the only explanation for why we would see two here. So I'm expecting these to both be Zach with entry times of like 231 or 232 and then 234. Let's see. Well, that's interesting. It only shows us the one instance of him because he's a singular contact. But we can see that sequence start date 249. So this is interesting. This is an issue that I have noticed where I believe it has 249 is in the future. That hasn't yet happened, but I think that is the 15-minute buffer. Like a contact can't re-enter a sequence within 15 minutes of finishing it or something like that, which prevents the system from creating these infinite loops that use up all the resources. So that's my guess, but this is a timestamp that, their start date is after their start date is after their stop date and is in the future, which shouldn't be allowed to happen. But the way I'm interpreting this campaign is that there are two instances of an individual having been added to it, but obviously it's only one contact record. So that to me tells me that the second contact replaced the first. Okay, so there you have it. If the contact catches up to themselves and they are active in the sequence that they're catching up to, then the trailing contact will drop out of the campaign. They won't enter the sequence a second time, and they won't restart that sequence. Now, if the contact is already queued in the sequence when the trailing contact catches up, then the queued contact is purged, and the contact does re-enter that sequence to experience the steps in that sequence a second time. Now, there are pros and cons to both of these. What I'm trying to highlight is the behavior you could expect so that you can think through the scenarios and the ways that it might affect your existing automations. Bear in mind, if a contact never re-enters your automations, then this probably won't come up. But if they can be in the campaign twice, if they can rejoin, if they can purchase a second time or fill the form out a second time, then you might want to think through what would happen when they catch one another and just build your campaign structure so that it creates the intended experience that you want your customers to have. Now, if you have your own questions like this and you are looking for a place to ask them, check out the OG membership. That's where this question originated. You can get those details at ogmembership.com. And if you are looking for more training on the Campaign Builder specifically, we've launched a 3-part course, the Advanced Automations Complete Collection. That is free to all Keap users inside of the Keap Academy platform. I think that is all she wrote. Thank you for watching. Oh, and since you are here, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? And then also take a moment to watch whatever video I have highlighted next right here. Peace.